Welcome to another episode of Pels and a Blender. It's your boy Davis coming out on this Friday night, man. Giving you a little night edition of Pels and a Blender. Excuse me. Oh, that was terrible. No game today, but we here to talk about the Pelicans a little bit. As you know, we just had the home stand against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Lost both of those games, but was really competitive. James Borrego just completed his first 10 games with the team, and kind of want to talk about how they look, or how James Borrego specifically has the team playing, how like what it is that we could look for from James Borrego. There's so much news going on right now with the team. Most of it's not good, but I guess it depends on how you look at it, right? The Zion injury news then came out. So, it's more and more so you got people talking about we got to go ahead and move Z. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like kind of on board with it at this point. Like, seems like we just need fresh starts really for everybody. Again, I also could see a world where if they decided not to make that move right away, I kind of understand as well. So, kind of little bit of that going on. You got the Jordan Poole. They cleared Jordan Poole, but then you still haven't seen him in games. You thought you would see him against Golden State, but that didn't happen. You thought you would see him in this home and home. They have him listed out. What's good, bro? Appreciate you for tapping in, Mike. Appreciate kind of the JP trainer said the trade talk is BS. I can believe that. To be honest. Everybody, so the thing that make the trade talk information about JP is interesting. Whoa, what's good, bro? Appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. The thing about the JP news is if you read the article say most Pelicans are on the trade block, or like they're considering looking at their trade value. Whoa, what's good, bro? Appreciate y'all. So like and honestly, at this point, you 3-20, you got to evaluate everybody's trade value, right? So it's the same thing when Joe first took over the team. They was kicking the can on every, hey, what you offering for Herb? What you offering for Trey? That don't mean we moving them necessarily. But at 3-20, I mean, it's kind of like everything's a possibility, right? I mean, it should be at this point. So I'm not worried about none of the news, to be honest. So like if like with respect to JP, he hasn't done anything to like warrant being in trade discussions. But at the same time, it's kind of like you understand it. If a team's gonna offer you something valuable for Jordan Poole, you ain't really doing much this year. You looking, you know what I mean? And even over the next couple of years, you're not really sure what the future is from like a competitive standpoint of this team is. So if somebody offers you something, maybe a pick or two or something like that, and you could get for JP, like, you entertain it? Absolutely. I'll take literally any contract for Zion if it comes with a first round pick. Possibly, I can that's not a stretch. Like, we done got to the point with Z where, and listen, throughout the day, y'all probably gonna see me sipping on my I'm in a festive mood, man. It's December. You know what I mean? Everybody been working a lot, getting ready for these holidays. I got my famous Claudia's eggnog. Claudia is essentially like my other mom, man. So she got this homemade eggnog, you heard me? So if you see me sipping, that's what that is. Great with alcohol, great without alcohol. You know what I mean? Hot, cold, however you want it. Eggnog is that time of year. I really don't want the team to move. I know I live in Cali, but the state and city deserves the team. Bro, I can't foresee a world where not saying that they won't ever move the team, but I just can't see like them moving a team behind being bad, at least. Like, just being a bad team don't mean you get moved. Also, NBA representatives in the building yesterday for an audit. Good. Good. They need that. Yeah, like they need all of that. All of the stuff that help bring them up to code, bring them up to like clear up their books and whatnot. You need all of that stuff done so you could like try to not be the worst organization in the league. Like that's the goal at the end of the day. So like I'm all for all of that, but I just don't think them being a bad team per se, like especially from a record standpoint, will warrant them being moved. They're not the worst in attendance. Like they do need to upgrade the arena because the NBA wants everybody to have, to for it to be a standard across the league for like arena sake and stuff like that. So you do need to upgrade the arena and whatnot at some point, which they say they're gonna get to. And the reason I believe that they're gonna get to it is because it's about making money, right? The arena, you know, is something that will make them profit. So I do think they're gonna put some attention to that at some point, right? More so than we talk about the product on the court. So I'm not overly concerned about like the stuff of them moving the team and all of that, and especially not just because they bad. Again, there's been multiple teams that have been incredibly have performed like way worse. I feel like performed way worse than the Pelicans have, especially in recent history. And there's been no discussions of those teams being moved and stuff like that either. So, like, if the NBA did anything, I could see it looking at expansion before like moving the team. So, I don't know, man. I'm just that's like the farthest thing like from my mind, like the team leaving the city and stuff like that. But as far as like the team itself goes, with all of the news going on, man, like it's feeling festive, absolutely, man. But nostalgic, yeah, bro. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's that time of year for y'all, bro, but like in the city, you know what I mean? They got the eggnog daiquiris that be going around. It's one of those times of year. Hold on, great time of year. Anyways, so with with the team right now, right? JP just finished his 10 games. I just took a look around the league among all the players and realized that this era is slowly coming to an end. Absolutely. You literally and this kind of goes into, honestly, this is perfect timing for the Pelicans to be god awful realistically, because if you look at it, Steph's time is almost done. LeBron time is almost done. KD's at the end of his run to a degree. You still got Giannis's young Joker, like young-ish Joker, you know, like they still got time, don't get me wrong, but like the era that we like recently lived in is pretty much over. It's pretty much over. You're in the time now with like Shea, Luca, you know what I mean? Ant, Ant is his time now. And you got some other players like trying to make names for themselves and stuff like Tatum, Halliburton, right? Who else? It's a different day and age. And again, we're on the last runs of that older era, right? So you're not really wanting to, in my opinion, you don't really want to try and like put yourself in a position to try and fit a timeline that at this point really don't work. If you were gonna go all in, you should have went all in. You should have went all in like maybe like before the 49 win season, you probably should have went all in and have your window be the 49 win season, the season after that, in this season, right? That could have been your window, especially with like Zion's injury history. You had Brandon, you had picks, you had space, you had movable pieces, you had a bunch of stuff. Then they just dropped the ball. Would you clean house with the coach and staff, or keep Borrego and let him pick his staff? Great question, because I absolutely want to talk about Borrego. So hold on, let me start as I go through some of these. I pay $100 for Pelicans Plus. I pay for that, bro. I pay for it too, dog. Pass my subscription just to watch this team because I live in Louisiana. If they moved, I could watch them on a regular on League Pass. Exactly. I play for the Pelicans Plus too, just to be able to like on the phone, on the devices. You can't get it. And I got YouTube TV, right? So on YouTube TV, you can't even get them when they on like the regular channels and stuff like that. So I'm with you as far as the Pelicans Plus and stuff like that. But it's just kind of like it's supposed to come with that extra content. I hate that you can't like rewatch the games immediately. It's just, it's just one of those situations. But again, I support the team, and like if I'm gonna talk about them, bro, I gotta like I watch if I can't make games, which I bought season tickets this year. JP was the reason I bought the season tickets. They trade for JP, they get Fizz, get Queen. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the game. So it's either the games or I got the plus. So it's on hand no matter where I'm at. Locked in. Steph, Clay, Dre, Brian, CP, Kawhi, PG, Jimmy, up, dog. Look what happened to PG. PG done. CP getting booted. Kawhi, like they getting Kawhi for the scandal. Harden almost out of there. You know, Steph, Clay, KD, like bro, the whole time, the whole era. But again, that's how it happened. That's how it happened. Like KD, Brian, and Steph, bro, like this players don't last that long. Them dudes playing 17, 18, 20 plus years. Like it's we're really shifting into this is Shay's time, right? Joker got to prove it's his, like he got his one, but like you still got to prove that like you could win again. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. That's just the way it go. It's a young man's game. I wanted to move, but I save money is all I'm saying. Feel that for sure. Let's go with so what I clean house with the coaching staff, right? So this is a pretty good question because in the first 10 games, I've been kind of torn because when Willie Green was here, right? When Willie Green was here and in Willie's first season, and I have to give James Borrego a bit of grace. A bit of grace. One, you didn't have an off season. You didn't have this, not your coaching staff. And again, to Willie's defense, it wasn't Willie's coaching staff either. But it's not your coaching staff. You didn't have no off season. You didn't have a training camp. The team was already 2-10 when you got the team or whatever. So they were already in. Most of your players were already hurt. You hadn't had a chance to really practice, right? So JB really came into when he got awarded this job, the interim job, which most interim jobs are not great situations anyway. Just being honest, like when most people take interim jobs, it's like midway through the season, the team is awful, which is why they firing the coach to begin with, or something is going on. The only people who getting like real, like got decent situations was like Rick Adelman's son. Adelman's son got a good situation with Denver. They was already in the playoffs. That's a veteran group. He been around for a while. You know what I mean? Like that's a good situation that he ended up in. Who else ended up in like Doc technically ended up when he came in and he was in an interim. They fired the guy mid-season and let Doc take over. But it's very few situations where like if they're gonna make you the interim coach, it's just gonna be a good situation. So I kind of want to give JB a little bit of grace as far as like the performance from a results base aspect, right? Part of the things we knew that JB was going to do when he got here was, was speed up the pace, right? We knew they were going to play with pace. We knew offensively they were going to look better. And those things, like we knew we were gonna get some like not minor, but like some of the basic coaching things that we expected, timeouts, like play calling, ball movement. Like you can tell that he's emphasizing some of the more basic things, and to be honest, just bringing the team up to speed with today's basketball, which is why I'm torn to a degree. A lot of so like people are dropping the stats are like JB's, numbers and how the team has progressed. And they've absolutely progressed. And again, you got to give it a little bit of grace because he doesn't have all of the players, right? And it is a tough situation. But even if you look at the numbers, the one that stood out the most, let me see if I can pull them up. But the one that stood up the most to me was the points per game. Right, the points per game was a pretty big one. I think they were 12th in points per game, and that's Zion in and out the lineup. That's like no Jordan Poole at all. So like it's just yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Shout out to Justin for posting this, man. Shout out to Justin. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it up while I got it. Hold on. You know what? No, it seems like I ain't gonna be able to do it. But Justin posted this on his Twitter. Shout out to Justin and Propels, bro. Them dudes always showing love. But the points per game is they're at right about 118.6 per game, which is 12th in the league. Their free throw attempt, like all of the numbers are up, right? The one number that's just god awful is the 3-point makes and 3-point attempts are terrible as well. So it's kind of like it's just really hard to judge and kind of gauge what it is that JB is going to be able to do long term. You have to give it a little more time, and I don't want to be overly critical. So like the numbers are still just kind of average in the grand scheme of things. The points per game is interesting because if you average in 118, without Poole, and I mean Herb not playing might help, but let's just say without Herb, Carlo missed a lot of time. Zion still missing time. Without like the full DeJounte is not there. Without the full complement of players, then you can look at it and be like, okay, we might have something. We might have something here as he continues to instill, like, you know, like just the other day before, like they had the Memphis game, right? You were up most of that game or battling most of that game and couldn't close it out. And at the practice, he was like, look, we ain't even have a chance to really go over like late game execution, which is crazy to me, all of the things that like they haven't really gotten a chance to do while he's still playing his games, which is, you know, it's kind of a hindrance because they're players and they practice and they play all these games, and they did have like JB was on the staff when Willie Green was here. So it's kind of like, bro, is it really that different? Unfortunately, it is. Whoa, what's good, bro? What's good? So it's kind of like how, like, I don't know where to cut the slack. I don't know where to cut the slack from where to cut slack for JB, because I understand like the limited amount of time that he's had with the group. But at the same time, when he's making, in my opinion, questionable decisions, I don't know if that's just who he is as a coach, or is that, you know, the situation per se. Because it's been a couple of these games, man, that's been very winnable. And like the rotations, for example, the quotations, for example, I'm just wondering, like, what's up with those? You'll see at times he'll throw out some really weird 9 queen lineups. And it's like, bro, at this point, like, you don't have any room for error if you're trying to win games. And I understand that queen sometimes defensively may be a little limited to what Eves has done sometimes, when Eves is, you know, energetic and running around and blocking shots and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, man, Eves is only going to be able to do so much for the team in the grand scheme of things. So when he's making like decisions at the end of the game from like a rotational standpoint, or like, again, having the ball in Jose's hand, and again, Jose's the ball handler and stuff like that. But it's kind of like some of the things that's happening at the end of these games make me question JB as a coach. And while we have the opportunity, and this is the main thing that really had me questioning him, it's not like they hired him, right? Again, this is a trial run for James Borrego. While he's in his trial run, do you consider like do you, obviously you give him the season and stuff like, well, I don't even say obviously you give him the season. He's shown improvement, but if you have an opportunity to reset the franchise, do you go find your guy? What does JB have to show? Like, what does he have to show for us to see that? Exactly. JB don't get no grace with me. I'm not gonna fire him this season, but this season, all he get to show me something. That's kind of where I'm at. And like, I do like what they're doing offensively. I like the attention to detail sometimes defensively as well. But again, man, at the same time, you still get questionable questionable rotations at the end of the games cost you a couple games, right? Like, and if you're trying to put your best foot forward, and man, listen, JB sounds really good in the interviews and like when they're talking to him like post practice and post game, and it's kind of like, listen, we got to be able to work on this, and you know we haven't had as much time. It's like it makes you almost want to like cut him some slack, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? No, you've been around this team long enough. You should know their strengths and weaknesses as well. Like you've been around this team for 3 seasons now. You should know what it is they can and can't do, what they're capable of, what they're not capable of, right? So I kind of got to hold you somewhat accountable for what's going on, even though you were dealt to a degree a bad hand and you're implementing your style and I get it. So like I am glad that he has a lot of the season left so we can really see what it is that he's gonna look like. But at the same time, I'm really torn and I'm really on the fence about it, because if you look at it, like, and again, maybe it's not having the players. Like, how much of a difference would having Jordan Poole right now make in some of these games that we seeing, right? Or having I don't know about fully healthy, but like 70% of DeJounte Murray might be, you know what I mean? Might be the difference between a win or two and a loss or two. You've been in a lot of the games. You haven't really been blown out too many times since Borrego's been there, which is a plus, right? You ain't just getting like, again, you ain't really seen them dog walk 30 balls getting, you know what I'm saying, getting your head beat in. So you get what I'm saying? If Poole was back, would he be 500? So I would like to think so. I think the team was competitive. The one thing I know about this team, at least like when you like, this is the thing how I always look at it. Once you start winning, people find ways to win. And if you listen to AD and them all the time, they were talking about how this team has to learn how to win. The one thing they doing right now is they learning how to lose. Like they're finding ways to pull losses out of games, right? Like, bro, you got 4 with 40 seconds left. You really just hold the ball and like you almost don't even need to shoot, to be honest. Don't shoot. You could 24-second shot clock, play defense, and you might have a chance of winning that game. Right now, we're finding ways to lose games. That is something like we're figuring out the third, but now we're like really bad in the fourth, or like not being able to close in the fourth quarters. So it's just kind of like what I don't know, man. Like I don't know what would we be 500? Maybe, but I can't say. I do think Poole makes a big difference as well. Like it's because if you look at the offense, right, and Jay, I can tell. Excuse me, JB wants to shoot way more threes than what this team is getting up. Way more threes than what the team is getting up. But they just don't have the players to shoot them. Like the way they play, the style, like they've been dominating the paint, but they not kicking for threes. They don't knock down threes. Like everybody you play on the roster, other than like Sadiq Bey can shoot, like even and Trey, but like Trey again in the fourth quarter. And this is again, that's why I have to ask about JB and partially Trey to a degree. Like, dog, one shot in the fourth quarter, like you cannot have between, and again, I understand the defense is focusing on you and all of that, but from a coach's perspective, I cannot allow like arguably the best player on my team to not be able to get a shot off. Like I have to figure out ways for him to get shots. So like those are the things that we still complain about with Willie. I don't want to hold Willie to a standard that I'm not holding James Borrego, and he's supposed to be the offensive guy. Yeah, your players got to do their parts as well, but somebody got to be looking at the film and be like, Trey, like what is this? One shot in the fourth quarter? Like, no, like those things have to be eliminated. And I'm putting it right now on James Borrego. So again, man, I don't know if like, it's not to say that he's not done a good job, because we see the difference. We see the style that he's trying to play. They are playing at a faster pace. if you was Troy, what would be your next move? I gotta move from like a coaching standpoint or move from like a roster standpoint, because I think both of those are two different things. From a coaching standpoint, I think it just makes sense to let James. I'll say this: I think you let James Borrego finish out the season unless like a can't miss coach, not can't miss, because any coach is possibly can't miss, but like if Mike Malone for whatever reason said I want to coach your team, then okay, like I'm sorry, but JB, we might have to move on and make this move. If Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, I'm Tom Thibodeau all the way. I don't think that'll happen. But like if Tom Thibodeau was willing to coach this team, I give the team to Tom Thibodeau, and we just whatever you want to do, however you want to go about it. Like that's what I do. Like from a coaching standpoint, I clean house and move that route if we're talking about from the coaching perspective. But I think James Borrego is going to finish out this season, and it's not that he's doing a bad job. I have to be more patient because again, it's still only like 10 games into his tenure. We're only 20 something games into the season. It's a lot of basketball left to be played. And again, if you get Jordan Poole back next week and he looks anything like Jordan Poole, then like you might immediately start seeing some things turn around. Roster wise, question: does the Jose 3-pointers make his minutes worth it? Not in my opinion. It's not that Jose shouldn't be playing. It's not that Jose shouldn't be playing, because he's playing really well right now. And in a lot of these games you wouldn't be in if it were not for Jose. So I don't want to kind of diminish what Jose has done. But at the same time, though, like you have to, like Jose has kind of shown you, excuse me, Jose has kind of shown you like who he is to a degree. And he's a solid role player. Like he's a solid role player. At the end of these games, for example, you drafted Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, number 7 and 13 overall. But like start grooming them now. Like Jeremiah Fears right now is like the best ball handler on the team, right? He needs to learn how to close some of these games. And that don't always have to be from a scoring standpoint. Derek Queen is one of the best ball handlers on this team. He has to figure out how to close these games, right? So why am I playing through Jose like at the end of the game? Like that's just not what it is. Like you play through the people they are your most talented. They are your future, right? They are your most productive. Like they give you the best chance to win, which is the problem I had with the Queen thing. And also, like you say, the defensive limitations. Like Jose's just small at the end of the day. Like he's small. And Jeremiah Fears is not that much bigger, but like at the end of the day, like Jeremiah Fears like upside and what he can do. And you've been seeing him getting better and better each game. Like, dog, like let that man close. Like give him the rock to close. Whether it's beating a man off the dribble, creating, you just kind of got to start teaching them how you want them to close. The rookie's been playing better than that. Bruh, in the games that you won, in the games that you were most competitive in, and this is why, and I said this on one of the other episodes, this is why I had like real questions about what Borrego was doing. Because I understand the offensive philosophy, but to me, he was doing some stuff very similar to what Willie would do. Like Willie Green saw in those early games, in game 1 and game 2 specifically, right? In game 1 and game 2, how Derek Queen was effective against Wemby, was effective against Jaren Jackson Jr. And then in the next couple games, once Looney come back, you start seeing the limitations to Derek Queen. Well, James Borrego did a very similar thing. Like you was on the staff when Derek Queen was like, and essentially going against Joker. Excuse me, right? Had the big game against Joker. Had the big game against Dallas. right? Like certain, I'm talking about the game they won. Like certain games, you see Derek Queen, like, okay, playing through him gives us the best chance to win. Even with the pacing and all of the stuff you want to do, at the end of the day, every team has like a way that they can play that will like be more conducive to winning. And for this team specifically, it's playing through Queen. Like that's what it is. So everything needs to revolve around. And again, you could play with pace and transition and all of that, but you have to play through your best players, right? So when he was taking Queen off the floor for Missy, and not saying that Missy wasn't playing well, but again, even with E's defensive impact, he still does not have the impact on a game the way Derek Queen, when you giving him 25 to 30 minutes, impacts a game. He just doesn't. So even if he starts off slow, and he had a slow start, which I mean, shit is basketball, right? You can have a bad start. That don't mean like one of your best players or more effective players don't need to play, even if they're rookies. Like we don't have that luxury. So, and you heard JB in the last interview, I think he's starting to really understand is like we have to be better around the margins. Like you have to be better around the margins. I agree. So like not playing Queen for certain times is just, that was really questionable to me. Like, and again, Zion is out. So now it's like, all right, we could just play him as much as we need to. But like the whole thing is when you have the talent around you, don't take the other talent off the court. Like figure out ways to play with the talent on the floor. And you the offensive coach, you're supposed to be the offensive guru to be able to figure that out. Stop getting away from the actions that work. Like I hate the offenses that they go to at the end of the game sometimes. Right. And again, it's training, it's conditioning, is getting into a mindset. But like those are the things that have me questioning JB as if he should be the guy moving forward long term. Like, but again, it's real early, so he has an opportunity to fix that. But we'll see. The other question you had was like, what would be my moves roster wise? Man, I really don't know right now because one, we don't even know who's coming back or who's not coming back, right? But essentially, the big elephant in the room is what you do with Zion. What do you do with Zion? So part of me says, if you get anything worth it, you move him now, right? If you get anything worth it, you move him now. Just not from a it's the smartest thing to do perspective, but sometimes if you just like Willie is gone, Brandon is gone, a lot from the old era to a degree is gone, Griff is gone. It feels like Zion to a degree is one of the last little the remnants of that. And sometimes like a fresh start just like, clears the way. Like we ain't got to think about it at that point. Like, okay, how do we play? Like when Zion comes back, like you just remove the whole element of changing what it is you've been doing. You know what I mean? When he returns and stuff like that. So like part of like just the fresh start element of it makes me say, if you get the right opportunity, move him now. At the same time, I could say you'll probably get a better offer or something like that in the offseason, because one, you could trade him right now for what, I mean, people don't think you're going to get much for him right now anyway. So that's another thing. Like, look, I'll take whatever pick I could get. But then again, it's kind of like, well, if you wait like the season, like you ain't in no rush for the season now. Like we ain't really competing for nothing right now. So unless somebody offer you a pretty decent situation, it's like, why not wait? Right? So then you wait to the offseason, and if somebody has a quality pick that they might be willing to give you, you never know. People are more valuable in the offseason than they are during the season sometimes. So like Trey, if you think about like Trey and Herb value before the game started, like Trey and Herb value before the game started was significantly higher than what it is once they started playing. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you make Zeta Brooklyn. I can see a Z to Brooklyn kind of deal. Brooklyn got a bunch of pieces that you could bring in, right? Like if y'all was sending Z to Brooklyn, what you want back from Brooklyn? Like what's your I gotta have from Brooklyn? For me, I kind of want to take a look at Cam Thomas if I can. I probably need Danny Wolf, right? Cam is short. I gotta have Cam. I ain't gonna lie. Like I know he only making $6 million. You'd have to consider an extension for him, but like Cam, if Cam was on this team right now, he'd easily be your best scorer. I don't know if they move Igor. I don't think they move Igor, but a place like Brooklyn, who like when they just recently had their stars, it didn't work out. Maybe they'll take a chance on Zion in New York. They've been dying to get Zion in New York anyway. And I firmly believe that once Zion leave this team, I don't know how long it's going to be, but if Zion leave this team, he's absolutely going to have a stretch and then like a stretch and perceived, like a perceived change to where everybody gonna be like, see, it was the Pelicans, right? Zion went somewhere else and then like immediately began to flourish. So I could see that being a situation if you move Z. I see Fears as a 2. I would like a point. I could see Fears playing. You know how I see Fears? I see Fears more like today's point guards, right? I don't know if he's necessarily a point per se, but he's absolutely like somebody who has to play on the ball, but he also has to get better playing off the ball as well. Kind of how you see Maxey and VJ playing right now, right? Like Maxey and VJ both kind of on the ball, off the ball, playing transition and stuff like that. If once Fears develops his strength more, develops his shot more, something like that, then you'll be able to see Jeremiah Fears really be impactful. But he gotta be on the floor. You keeping Z no matter what. Like I don't mind keeping like I don't mind keeping Z. I don't mind keeping Z. My biggest question, I guess I would say with keeping Z is whoever you bring in, can you have Z on the team and still say like, and I use this comp a good little bit too, how when Karl Anthony Towns was the man in Minnesota, right? And then when Ant got there, Ant just like essentially took over the team. Where even while Cat was there, everybody was like, all right, yeah, this is Ant team now, right? He played like it, he was acting like it, all of that. So the only way I'm really keeping Z and not cleaning house, and this is like I understand the health concerns and stuff like that, almost as if Z is a like complementary piece, right? Like like if having Z is nothing but a benefit. The only issue with that is Z don't play and he $40 million, right? $40 million not on the court is, especially when you got 30 million. Like right now, we got $100 million worth of players that haven't played. Like Murray ain't played a game yet. Poole only played like 5 games so far, something like that. And then, and then Z, less than 10 games? Less than 10 games or 10 games, something like that. That's a tough situation. A true PG and a 2-guard related. The rage bait is next to Queen. Duh, I'm telling you, and I'm kind of stuck on it. I know it's not gonna happen, but like if you could find a way to get a player like Ace, right? I know you're probably not gonna get Ace. You can't figure out how to get Ace, but a player like that next to Queen and Fizz, I think is gonna be like what you need to propel this team into whatever bright future I think they can have. Because respectfully, and I don't mean this like as far as like Trey's game, but I don't think Trey, I don't want to say, and again, man, he's still young in his career and stuff like that too, but I don't know if Trey's game is gonna be like the game that like takes this team to the next level, right? Like Trey as your third or fourth best player. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he can have his moments and he can be helpful and stuff like that. Send Z, Hog, and Jose to the Jazz for Ace. Dog, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Give me Ace and salary filler, right? Ace and whatever salary filler you want, bro, and I'm cool. I'm telling you. Give me Queen, because you know Ace got that dog shit that Fears got. Queen got that too, dog. Like, you notice, like, Queen Fears the one getting the text and stuff right now. But Queen been in people's face too. When my dog go down, like, I'm like, when my little dude go down, I'm the big man right there with him. You know what I'm saying? And the part that I don't like about the team, bro, and you notice this, I said this in the when it was in like I think it was one of the first games of the preseason game or something like that. Fizz was getting into it with some. No, it was in the Memphis game. It was in the Memphis game, dog. And Fizz was fighting. Fizz was fighting to come back in that Memphis in that third quarter. In the third quarter, when the shit was, the infamous third quarter, everybody was quitting. And I want to say he got into it something, and you just see yes, when and then like when Poole got into it with KCP. Poole got into it with KCP, and you just see the players just kind of like looking around, not coming to his aid and stuff like that. All of those dudes, you gotta get you gotta move. Those are the people, in my opinion, more than anybody, you gotta remove. You gotta remove, dog. Like, you need all dogs. Like, Sadiq Bey a dog, bro. There ain't nobody bullying Sadiq Bey. And the Sadiq only 26. Sadiq only 26. You could probably extend Sadiq Bey for not that much. Like, wouldn't he be a solid player to have around the organization as you going through this rebuild? And while Trey is nice, right? While Trey is nice, I need a dog. Like, I need like you remember Ant rookie year, bro, when he was just driving and dunking on people, like all of the people falling down and just bullying people at the rim. You see how strong Ant look now, right? How solid Ant is. And again, he's been an athlete, so he is like comparing him to Trey is really tough. But like, dog, like Chaz talk about it all the time about how like weak the team is and stuff. All of that stuff, man. Go get you a dude that's gonna be a fucking dog, bro, to go next to your players that you already know or like that. Don't even need a pick back. Ace wanted to be here. Give me Fizz, Ace, and Queen. If I could, that's what I'd be trying to make that happen. I respect Troy for bringing in Fizz. He wanted some coach. I still wonder how he drafted Isaiah Stewart. Like, I would like if Stewart was available, you wouldn't mind having Stewart on this team. Like, you wouldn't mind having a Stewart on this team, bro. Like, just he was a solid player for them and stuff for Detroit. Just somebody who ain't, dog, we just not soft. Like, you have to find people. You have to find people that sets the tone. Everybody overreacting to the Z injury, possibly. So that's how I feel about the Z injury. And for me, it's not really just the Z injury, because the injuries had never really been a problem for me per se in the past, right? The issues I'm having is when I watch Z on the court look disinterested at times. Like this year more than any year I've seen Z not look overly aggressive on the court, right? Like, his body language don't look right. Like, to me, like watching him all of these seasons, bro, like he don't look aggressive going to the rack. Like, he got, and again, maybe it's because he's not healthy. But like, normally when Z come back from his injuries and stuff like that, no, we see Z dunking on people. We see Z just go like just play with a whole lot more aggression, offensively and defensively. You ain't seen him really going for like even his steals. Like, sometimes he go for steals, overly aggressive. He be trying to rip the ball out of people's hands. Early in the season, he was really aggressive, going for the boards. And again, maybe it's the injury. But like, he looked passive. He looked defeated to me. He looked defeated to me. And if he's defeated and don't believe, that's at the point where I'm like, all right, it might be time. It might be time. Sometimes it just might be time for everybody, because you can't have, unless somebody's going to step in and just overtake him as the leader, because he has like a passive demeanor to a degree. If somebody's going to overtake him as the leader, and you can't just like, it can't just happen, like somebody's game has to overtake him as the leader, right? Then you'll have a chance. That's why I'm like, I need as many opportunities to get that particular kind of guy. So like, again, like if I gotta move, and I don't think Kuminga is this guy, but I'm just throwing out Kuminga. Like if I gotta move Herb to go get Kuminga, and Kuminga bring that aggression, that fire star Z, then I'll be open to it. You make a good point, bro. I like Stewart. Troy is good at finding dogs. Absolutely. Like I think he's gonna continue to do that. I think they're gonna continue. I wouldn't be surprised if because I think January come, you'll start seeing some of the moves. I think Troy gonna probably try and find a way to go acquire some of his people. Also, that's another thing that people don't mention. Like when they talk about the Jordan Poole situation, Jordan Poole is a Troy guy, right? Like Troy was in Washington when Jordan was there, and was like, hey, let's go get Jordan. So when they talk about trading Poole and stuff like that, like people kind of forget that Jordan Poole is a Troy Weaver guy. So maybe if they do move somebody else, it's not him because of that reason. Good point. It's been 7 years. So like, what makes enough? Right? Like what makes it enough? Is it because he's not producing like he produced when he is on the floor? Is it because of the losing? Like what makes it enough? I think the thing for me that would say is, okay, it's enough. Which is why I'm not opposed either way. I'm not opposed to keeping him or moving him at this point, is because last year we were awful. Right? And we thought this year coming in with a different situation. Again, the Pelicans didn't do us any favors because they didn't get rid of Willie Green early enough. They didn't give Borrego the opportunity early enough. I felt like they didn't go all in on like roster moves and stuff. Like, even though they brought in Queen and they had Missy and stuff, this team still needed a center. Vucevic was available. They had a bunch of players that possibly could have been available, and I felt like you brought in Looney, which, you know what I mean? I think the team still needed a quality center. And they didn't do that, but now we're like that's funny. Shout out to Lito. I'm off that narcotic. Say, bro, it's hard. Pause. You know what I mean? You get like Z have those stretches where like sometimes the games I don't want to say they don't matter, but when they out of range, they come in, he comes back and goes on one of those typical Zion stretches. And maybe that's what you need. Right? Maybe that's what you need. He comes back sometime in January, right before the trade deadline, give you 3 weeks of I look amazing, how he could play. And maybe you could boost that value up. Maybe you could boost the value up and be able to get some for him. But my biggest reason of willing to move now is because last year we were terrible. I couldn't imagine that we'd have another year as bad. Again, bro, I was multiple episodes. This team is good. If you look at the roster, and I still believe that if they were fully healthy, right, you will win a lot of these games. But again, they haven't been healthy all season. And the players that we thought were healthy weren't going to be here. Like Jordan Poole alone just makes so much of a difference, especially the JP I saw in the first couple games, right? JP a dog, in my opinion. Like just what he brings to the court would just make a difference. Like even if Z not here, right? But you're 3 and whatever. Like we'll be 3 and 17, 3 and 20, whatever. Like if at some point you have to do something. You have to do something. You can't keep resetting it. So like I personally think the two players I'm moving above anybody else, Herb gotta go respectfully, and it's gotta be Z. It's gotta be. It's just gotta be. Like, from a financial point, it's gotta be Z. You make 40 million, bro. You make 40 million and play about 30% of the games. And I don't want that to be the case. Like, it again, if we had a team that was good enough to carry, it would be different. Like, if we had a team that was good enough to be in the playoffs without you, kind of like, look at OKC. Like, OKC is good enough to what J-Dub, they don't need J-Dub. But when J-Dub come back, it just like supplements what it is they already have. If we had a team that was good enough to like win and or make the playoffs, like just make the playoffs or make the play-in without you throughout most of the season, then maybe I would feel differently about it. But we're not that good. Like, they just not that good. And with that being the case, can we afford like $40 million, like $40 million of very specific type of gameplay, right? Because again, and that's another thing. So like, even if you start talking about Z game, and I do think Z dominant, right? It's not like he shoot threes. It's not like, it's like you almost have to play through him. Like, he has a very unique skill set, right? It's not like Steph, dog, where like you could just put Steph out there and just play any kind of style and it's gonna work. So again, like I firmly believe that, like, I believe in Z talent, I believe in Z game. I think Z's one of the better players in the league. I do. Even with the limitations. I believe he's that good. And I think once he moves, you see how people talking about Brandon. Brandon look exactly how he did when he was here, in my opinion. He's just got better players around him, so it looks different. But if you watch the Raptors, Brandon looked exactly like Brandon looked when he was here. And shout out to Brandon. And if Zion was to go somewhere else with a quality supporting cast and a quality coach, Zion gonna have those moments where he gonna be 27, 7 and 5, 20, 29 something and 6, because he's a talented player. But that's what's best for us? If you James Borrego, would you rather have Zion or would you not right now? Like, because if you don't have him, you could just fully lean in the queen, bring Poole back, bring your shooters, and then you could play a lineup of like, you still would need a center, but let's just say you play it like, let's say there's no Z. Then you really could go Fierce, Queen, Poole, Trey, Fierce, Queen, Poole, Trey, Carlo. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bunch of things that, like, you could really put some shooting out there to a degree, because Queen don't shoot that well yet. Like, Queen don't shoot threes either. I think the league catching up to Z. He hasn't looked dominant as he used to. I'm gonna say I don't know, because in the first two games, that dude was dominant. Like, you saw him dunk on Wemby on the first play of the game, give Wemby 29, like 10 and 6. And then even in the first game, he was 27, 9 and 6. But remember, he was averaging, before the hamstring, he was averaging 4 steals a game. Like, he was, like, don't get it in the Clipper game. Like, we got blown out against Boston. I don't think he played in the Clipper game. What did he do in the Clipper game? Almost 30, 10 and 7 or something like, dog. He still got game. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to say the league that caught up to him at all, but like, again, you got to think the players he playing with are limited too. Like, Herb ain't been shooting well. JP been gone, and if not gone, was benched. So like, where are they getting the spacing from? And he don't space the floor. They don't shoot consistently. They weren't playing Queen alongside him all of the time. So it's just kind of like, there's a bunch of shit going on, man, that just kind of give you questions about the whole thing. I got just questions about the whole thing. And my question to everybody is, do you trust the organization to get it right. I trust Troy to draft. I trust Troy to identify and acquire talent. Do I think he can put together the best team, the best situation? I don't know. Like, where do they stand on the coach? Right? Like, does Troy and Joe philosophy mesh? Like, could you have to, or are we just acquiring the best talent possible? Like, what's the goal? That's the one thing that I don't think we still know, like, with the front office. Like, what do they want to accomplish? So whether they keep and or move Z, that's really what's gonna signal. That's what's gonna signal the moves and like what it is that we trying to do. Like, so at the end of the day, we really just got to be patient. But I'm just interested in seeing what's going on. And like, I was just taking a look at like James Borrego games, not just the numbers and stuff like that, because the numbers would, like, I thought Willie was so just bad at playing like the style of basketball needed today, and the team just was ready, like they just were over it, right? It's just a more fun style of basketball as well. Like, and then they having some motion, like it's more like basketball. So you knew the numbers were gonna like look better. I'm trying to find a balance between the situation JB is in, not having the players, and are you a good enough guy for this job? And even if they decide to give him the job, right? Let's say they do decide to give him the job. Like, do we think that he's the long-term coach? Or if we getting ready to go through, like, you know, if we getting ready to go through a rebuild, you kind of like, look, let's let James Borrego be the Mark Jackson before you go get Steve Kerr. Right? And if that's the case, that's cool too. Like, if that's the play, I can see JB being that. Develop these guys. Let's get them a style. Let's develop their talent. An offensive coach. He's gonna have some defensive principles. Bring that San Antonio mentality. You know what I mean? Like, try and do that. So if the play is they do decide to keep Borrego, right, and just let him be the guy. They give him a 3-4 year deal. A 3-4 year deal, because right now we getting ready to go into 2026. You really ain't gonna be ready to make no moves until, like, to really compete till 29-30. Just keeping it a stack, right? You're not making no all-in moves to go compete right now. So your best play gonna be acquired talent. Talent gotta develop. You talking about Queen and Fizz on their second deals, which is 3-4 years from now. What other players are you bringing in with that? I need the Ace Bailey. Like, we need an Ace Bailey, and it ain't got to be this year. But if you could find some way to go get somebody like that, if you could find a young, prominent player that you could get, that's why I keep saying, bro, send Z. If I got to send Z to Miami to get Khalil Ware, that's the target. That's the target. Imagine having Khalil Ware next to Derek Queen for the next, 7-8 years. 7-footer that can handle the ball, space the floor, defend the rim, run the flow, shoot. That's what you need. So, like, if I gotta sacrifice year 7, $40 million Z to get Khalil Ware, and in Miami they ain't really feeling Khalil Ware too much because of the attitude and all that. That's cool. That's the perfect type of player for Joe Dumars. Go get that dude. If you got to take that Andrew Wiggins contract back, because I don't know how attractive that is right now, give me the Andrew Wiggins contract, Khalil Ware, and a pick, and you can have Z. Z in Miami, listen, they'll be flocking to Miami to see Zion. So I'm just throwing it out there, man. Like, those are the kind of things you got to do to be ready, because, again, and we talked about this earlier in this episode, like, the stars of my generation, essentially, I like to look at it as like 2 generations. I had the AI generation was my generation, and also like through the Steph Curry times and stuff like that, like Steph, Bron, all D Wade, all of, like, I done seen a lot of greats come and go so far. Like, now is like a completely different era. Shay's time, you know what I mean? Shea, Luca, Ant. Like, it's daytime right now. You gotta like prepare for the next wave to challenge and battle them when they are like in their primes or like getting ready to like become older players and stuff like that. You getting ready to be the young dudes on the scene. So you gotta amass as much talent as possible to be ready for the next wave. You got like a 3-year window to do it. Cade, you're gonna have to see Cade. Well, they're in the East, so I don't want to say you're gonna have to see Cade, but Wemby and Dylan Harper, right? Stephen Castle. The Rockets are young. I mean, if you remove KD, and Sengun is young. Reed Shepard over there, Jabari Smith, like them dudes young. So like you gotta do, you're in the position now where you kind of like you forced to hit the reset. Like I'm not overly upset about the pick like some people are. Like as Queen has started to play, and like a lot of people are more mad about the losing, and it's like, bruh, like not so, but it's just kind of like it is what it is. It is what it is. Like we can't be, I don't want to say can't be mad over it, but it's just kind of like you got to figure out a way around that anyway. So I don't know. So I guess I'll pose this question to y'all. I'll pose this question to y'all that's in the chat with me. Appreciate y'all, man. Hit the like button. What is your roster solution? Like, would you, because a couple, maybe a week or two ago, a lot of people saying the Pelicans are considering making an all-in move or more of an all-in move, which would have been something like probably Sabonis. You know what I mean? Probably would have been something like maybe Zach LaVine. You see LaMelo available right now, something like that. What kind of move would y'all make? Like, where do y'all think the like vision of the team should go? Like, would you try to extend the window a year or two, or do you punt and take 2-3 years to rebuild and then be ready? And is Borrego your guy to lead you? Is Borrego the guy to lead you? Those are the questions that I kind of want to like, as we have these next, like essentially the end of this year in January is going to really like lay out what it is that's going on over the next couple seasons. So like December and January, we'll see what they look like leading up to the trade deadline. Whoa. No punt. Season over. Build around Fizz, Queen, Trey. Get as many assets as you can until you find your elite wing. The wing is the move, dog. Appreciate you, Mike, dog, tapping in. Punt the season. Season over. Yeah, it seemed like the only way. It seemed like the only way. You 3-20. Even if this is the thing, you can still punt and try to compete. Right? Because the West so bad right now, bro. If you lean into Queen and Fizz, Trey, maybe you do trade her for Kuminga. Maybe you do trade Zion. Let's say you do trade Zion, able to get like a package from Miami, or don't tell me you get Ace some kind of way. I don't know if you going like how you gonna look. But if you told me we was able to trade her for Kuminga and then trade Z and get like, I don't even want to think about the idea of getting Ace. But like if we was able to get like Khalil Ware or something like that, and then we had a lineup of like Fierce, Queen, Kuminga, Trey, and Khalil Ware, like with JB's system, dog, like you still got a chance to push for the play-in. With Bay off the bench, you still possibly could have Carlo. We ain't done nothing with JP. Murray still to be around, right? You still got an opportunity to push for it. So you could make moves that signal we not all in, but that don't mean you can't make a push for the 10th seed. Only 6 games out to play in. We ain't got to send nothing to the Hornets to get Antonio Reeves back. Like, And I like Reeves, bro, to be honest. Like, they should have never let Reeves go. But we don't see Reeves playing right now either. I think we and I think Chad said something like this before, but like, I think we so like talent, like a talent deficit kind of thing, to where we'll look at average level players. Like Brandon Boston was a really good player when he was here. And no shade to Brandon Boston, but like Brandon Boston's still not in the league, right? Alfred Payton looked amazing when he was here. Alfred Payton's still not in the league. So like Antonio Reeves not over there hooping for Charlotte right now. They playing a bunch of their young dudes and stuff like that too. Some stuff to the Hornets. We don't need to be sending nothing to nobody for Bridges and Reeves, bro. Whoa, what's good, bro? Appreciate you tapping in, Q. So just think about it, dog. Like, if you can move, because Golden State got to try and compete right now. They got to. Like Steph and Draymond in them last. Jimmy, this is it for them. This is it for them. If they want Herb Jones, they be like, look, they know they're not playing. Kuminga is 1,000% out of there. 1,000%. Like, even when he healthy, they ain't playing him. Right? So, like, if you do Herb for Kuminga, just do it. Just do it. Right? Who put I saw this earlier. I don't know if it was, maybe Mike, it was you in the chat. I don't know. But somebody was like, would you do Zion for Kuminga, Pods? It was Kuminga, Pods, and Moody. Kuminga, Pods, and Moody for Z. Send it in. Send it in. What's the worst that can happen? If I got Kuminga out of that, and I don't know, maybe you flip Pods, maybe I bring Pods up, Pods to take Jose minutes. You know what I'm saying? Pods would take Jose minutes. I still got Herb to go flip somewhere else. You can go get quality stuff from Herb. People can use Herb throughout the league. So if I got Kuminga, Pods, and Herb for Z to go, yeah. I mean, Kuminga, yeah, it was Kuminga, Pods, and Moody. I'm sorry. Kuminga, Pods, and Moody. Man, do that shit. Respectfully. I would send Herb for Kuminga, but I would ship Z for Bridges and Reeves a minute. Dog. Which Reeves? Antonio Reeves. Dog, Antonio Reeves is a two-way. If that's still. We not shipping nothing to give Antonio Reeves, respectfully. Brandon Miller, yeah. Brandon Miller, that's a different conversation. But he got same injury concerns like Z. So while again, the wing is what you need, because you hit so far on the guard and you know Fear's gonna be here. You hit so far on your 4-man. I think Queen is more like your 4. Trey, if you keep Trey, you got one of the wings. You got the sniper, you know what I mean, the athletic shooter that could run the floor and do all of that. You gotta get like your Ant. You gotta get anything close to that. The dude that's gonna just be more athletic than everybody. Like, you need the Shaden Sharp, right? You need Ace. You need Shaden, Ant. Like, you need to target that. If I could, so like, I would do Hawk for Antonio Reeves or something like that. Like Hawk for Antonio Reeves. But you probably could offer them some cash and get Antonio Reeves. To be honest, like, you could do that. If it doesn't work, you don't have to resign him. I don't know, bro. I'm just not overly worried about Antonio Reeves. Whoa, what's good? Why so many pressing so hard to trade Zion? Yes, he missed games, but he produces more than anyone on the team. Yes, I think the reason most people want to. Okay, man. I think the reason people want to get off Z so bad is because I just think you have burnout with the situation. I think you got burned out with the situation. Like, honestly, just not playing enough games. I just think you is not playing, just not being available, right? And at some point, when you make the kind of money that Z make, and you're not available as much as he's not available, and then when he is available, like recently when he has been available, like it hasn't resulted in wins. It's all about what you do while you're on the floor. Like if he was on the floor and like you were, you know, how many games has he played? Almost like what? Like almost 10 games or something like that. If you won 8 of the games, then it would be different. You losing with him. So you losing when he play, right? You have to continuously change his style when he plays. And then he's hurt a lot. And then he don't really play a conducive style to the team. You almost got to play through him. And then him not shooting hurts you as well. Like that's another thing that we have to address. We absolutely, like, we have too many players that don't shoot enough threes, that don't create threes, that don't take threes, right? Like, and I don't know if that's like the offense. JB's is constantly talking about, look, we got to get paint touches and kicking for threes and stuff like that. So you can tell he's trying to like generate it and teach them how to generate it. But we just don't have players that shoot them a lot. Right? They just played 2 games. They just played 2 games against Minnesota. And the only person on the floor that's not shooting the 3 is Rudy. Right? Ant shoot multiple threes. DiVincenzo shoot multiple threes. Randall shoot multiple threes. McDaniel shooting the 3. Every people off the bench, like Terrence Shannon coming off the bench, shooting threes. Like every player on the floor is a threat to shoot the ball. Right? Even like they at least getting the attempts up. Right? Like, bro, if somebody's shooting 50 threes and you shooting 20 and you ain't making 20 out of 20, it's hard to shoot 50%. You got to think like we be 7 for 20 from the 3-point line. Another team that hit you for 16. I don't care what you did in the paint. Like, you just going to lose. You have to get players that like are conducive to that. Zion doesn't help you with that. Like, he helped you with the paint touches and the production and stuff like that. But at some point, the numbers, like when he's not shooting 60% from the paint, like he got to be 60% type efficient for it to balance out to a degree. And then you still need shooters. So like having Queen makes it tough because Queen don't shoot threes. Missy don't shoot threes. Jeremiah Fears shooting them, but he not like shooting, like he not a 9-3 per game kind of player yet. And then you just say, all right, let me take away Trey. Right? Let me limit Trey threes. Like Trey need to be like 9-10 threes a game consistently. Can't get them up all the time. So I think a lot of that is the reason why people like, dog, we just ready. They're just ready. I don't know what happens with Z this season. To be honest, this is the first year where it felt like a real possibility that he would be traded. But at the same time, I don't know. Z over the past 7 years has played less than 50% of the games, has no 3, no midi, can't stay healthy, and the team can't function without him. That's a lot of good points. It's a great way to answer that question. So it's just kind of like that's where you at. That's where you at. So again, I think the way this team should move forward, I think they use the rest of the season to assess Borrego. I had to check myself because I was like, after some of the stuff I saw with Queen, I'm like, Borrego might not be the guy. Borrego might not be the guy. But I need to be more patient with Borrego and giving him an opportunity to see what he looks like with Queen and Fizz, and maybe when Poole comes back, like what you look like with them dudes for like 20 games, right? Like, what do you look like at game 20? It's game 10. What you look like at game 20? It might look different. if you got Poole back, and maybe when Murray comes back, maybe it does look significantly different. Well, we could judge Borrego a little different. We saw enough from Willie. Like, Willie had been here long enough to know what his issues are. Borrego don't have the same issues that Willie have, but the rotation stuff, you know, I'm just interested to see. So the book is still out on Borrego. We got to make that decision. That decision got to be made, and we got to figure out what we're doing with Z. You move off Z into a healthy player geared towards Fizz and Queen, we immediately become better. That's not wrong. That's not wrong. Again, who would your player be? And I'm just asking, who would your player be? Not a player contender, but in the right contention, in the right direction to bring in more talent. I still think you can contend for the play-in. Bro, Minnesota's not really a great team, but like, you just had 2 games back to back. You should have split with Minnesota. You had a tough game against Denver. Like, this team is so annoying, bro. And bad teams have good nights sometimes. So I understand that. But at the same point, though, I've been seeing the people post the Zion's former teammate. Did y'all see that? The Zion when who the hell was said that today on TV? Zion's former teammate said that Zion has LeBron talent, but not the work ethic. It's like, duh. Like, who, bro? Not many people. First off, not many people have LeBron James work ethic. Like, you don't be as great as that dude without like extreme work ethic. But it's like, fuck, duh. Obviously, your biggest words right now, DJ Z and Poole. Yeah, that's your biggest words, but you're not as worried. I don't think you're as worried about DeJounte and Poole. I think DeJounte, even coming off the injury, got a good enough like resume, like people to take an opportunity on him. And his game wasn't overly based on athleticism and stuff like that anyway. It was more skill based to a degree. So I think you could probably figure that out. And again, you don't have to move DeJounte right now either, and you can still be fine. Like, it don't, if you gotta hurt yourself to make a deal, you might as well wait. Wait, it's either JJ or BI. What JJ? What JJ you talking about? I think JJ. What's JJ? So, I don't know, man. I think we're in a terrible situation, but because the team is terrible. But realistically, you in a decent situation. JJ Redick. What are we talking about? Not a player contender with more talent. Wait, what are we talking about with that? It's either JJ or BI. What we talking about? But I think you're in a good enough situation to where, the teammate who talked about Z. Gotcha. JJ or BI is the teammate who talked about Z and said the work ethic. Probably JJ. JJ, I can see JJ. I don't think BI would say something like that. Not with BI track record, being honest. I can see JJ. Who else would possibly say something like that? I don't know. You make a good point. CJ, maybe. CJ was the most recent one that was over here like that. Kerr is overrated as a coach. I mean, maybe, but his resume say he one of the greatest. At the end of the day, that's what it boiled down to. What have you done? Kerr got 4 championships. Been to, you know what I mean? Been to 6? Listen, if my overrated coach got me 1 championship, I'm happy. Damn near 4 of them to be a part of a dynasty. CJ don't talk about other players like that. Maybe not, but you never know. You know, maybe it was off the record, on the record type stuff. Who knows? The reason being around both Brian, both played with Z. JJ is more vocal. I can see JJ said greatest shooters of all time on the same team. I agree, but they weren't like they were a first round exit before he got there. He changed their whole style of play. So like you kind of got to give him credit for like Draymond was coming off the bench before he got there, right? He made the appropriate moves, brought in the appropriate staff, changed the style of play. Boom. Sometimes that's all it takes. And then he had the benefit of the work already being done, which is why I kind of say, do we use James Borrego as our Mark Jackson? Right? Use James Borrego as your Mark Jackson, come establish the foundation, establish the culture, establish the defense. If you remember, Mark Jackson was the one. Remember that game when Houston was hitting all them threes on Golden State by to break the three-point record, and he was like, no, foul him. We don't let teams break. We don't let teams hit threes like that against us. Like we don't let teams break records against us. Establish the culture and mentality. And then Kerr came in with the system, and then it went to the next level. Borrego could be that. Borrego could be that. Use Borrego to establish the culture while you're going through your rebuild, get the team to a certain level, and the teams do it all the time, and then go get your guy. And when you right when you're ready, boom, now we need a championship level coach. Zion has picked up all the slack on all positions for his team. The Pelicans are just worn him out physically. I agree. And it's a dirty game to a degree because him doing all of that, now it's kind of like, hey, it's time to move. Like, you move on. Like, it's a cold business, but that's the way it go. If you can't produce, then that's where you move. That's when it's time to roll. But with the team let DJ and Poole finish the season, trade Z-Hawk, Herb, maybe Jose at the deadline, let Poole and DJ boost their trade values. That's probably the best plan. That's probably the best plan because I don't think you're going to extend Poole, right? I don't think you're going to extend him, and he's coming up on an expiring next year. So I can see that. I don't think it makes sense to trade Poole this season anyway. And again, you still got an opportunity to push for the play-in. As bad as it sounds, 3-20. Dog, you go on a quick 4-game win streak. You in contention. The Zion teammate that said he was lazy, JJ and CJ. It sounds like it's definite. I think it's CJ or JJ too. I think it's one of them. JJ absolutely would. Because JJ got there and was like, hey, bro, look, I've been in the playoffs I've been in the playoffs on this streak. It's up to you to keep my streak alive. Immediately misses the playoffs and Zion don't play no games. So JJ absolutely would be like, this motherfucker done ended my playoff streak. Similar to CJ. CJ had missed the playoffs, what was it, 10 straight seasons or something like that. And then their first year, they ended up sneaking in. No Z make the play in. Next year, boom, nothing. Ended CJ streak. So I think it'd be one of them. I don't think it's Drew. I don't think Drew's checked out by the time Z got here. We need a true PG, move Fizz to the 2, or Bacon get traded, Queen at the 4, and a good center. I don't really know about moving Fizz to the 2, to be honest. I want another wing, dog. Like, I want them to have like elite players, obviously elite players at every position, but like like Fizz as a point guard in today's NBA. Shout out to Mike. Mike always saying this. Fizz is today's type of point guard, right? Like, you don't like today's game don't even really have true point guards in them. That's the whole dialogue they had with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce just had a dialogue about CP. Like, your point guard today got to be able, bro, the dude on the streak of 3 games of 20 points right now. Right? If he one of them dudes that can consistently get buckets, let him go get buckets and just show him the nuances of the game, running the team, running the pick and roll, be effective. Dog, if Fizz can become Maxey plus or Maxey, that's what you want. Maxey not no true point guard, but that dude nice. Like, be that or better. If you could be Maxey or better, I'd be happy with Fizz. That dude could get you to the playoffs. With Queen being whatever Queen is, right? Get the elite wing and watch how everything changed. That's the target. The elite wing and go get Khalil Ware or somebody like that. Khalil Ware right now. Like, what's his name? Walker Kessler gonna be a free agent next year. Maybe you target, maybe you bring him in. Maybe you bring him in because he can shoot, run the floor, defend the rim, do all of the things as a threat on the floor. That's why Carlo and people say it all the time, bro. That's why Carlo looks so amazing. Like he could just do the things that you need, like a good basketball player to do: run the floor, catch a dunk, shoot a three. We have too many limited players on the team. Joe not moving. Z, Herb and Jose gotta go. Say, bro, again, if you go give me Herb, I feel like Kuminga gonna be on this team. I think the Herb for Kuminga stuff in the offseason was real. I think they rehash it, and that's gonna be him. If PV works his shot over this offseason, you can move PV to the 2 and have Big because he's cheaper and trade. No, listen, I like PV. I like PV a lot. I am not trying to start Michael PV. Like, because I feel like if we start PV, we're gonna be in the same situation that we are with Trey. I mean, with Herb. We need bucket getters, dog. Like, I don't like for PV to be a starter or like to play the 2 guard. Like, somebody gotta be for PV to be able to be the 2 guard, dog. Somebody gotta be Shea. Somebody just gotta be 30 and up, like 30 and up consistently every night. And you still need Chet, 7-foot shooter, spacer. You know what I'm saying? Like J-Dub, 20. Like, that's how them teams can get away with playing a player like Lou Dort. Right? Because Shea giving you 30 a night. J-Dub almost 20 a night. Chet pop you for 20 or 30 a night. And then they got 2 ways and shooters all throughout, like just all over the place. So, like, in respect to PV, but like, dog, like your offense gotta take a dramatic jump. I'm trying to think talent, but he can't like Cam, like Malik Monk just got paid, but like Cam Thomas, I don't know what Cam numbers gonna look like, but I absolutely would try to bring in Cam right now to see what Cam look like. Cam is a 30-point walking bucket, making $6 million right now. And again, I don't know what Cam's market is going to look like in the offseason because free agency is weird right now. But how is trading talent going to help us? We're not a free agent destination until he asks out publicly. He ain't going nowhere. So, like, what I mean by getting rid of the talent, you not just throwing the talent away. You have to, if you getting rid of the talent per se, you have to bring in the assets to replace the talent. Example, if I trade Z, right? Z year 7 now, and because the 2 of the players that I'm talking about bringing in is like Ace Bailey and Khalil Ware. If you could somehow, and you probably won't, but if you could get Khalil Ware, year 2 Khalil Ware is, bro, that's like, it's like adding Chet. It's like adding Wemby. That's a 7-foot shooter defense. Like, that's adding talent with like extreme upside. Like, that's what you have to bet on. Like when OKC moved PG for Shea, like, yeah, you were giving up a high level talent in PG. PG was in MVP conversations. For Shea, who was a rookie who hadn't proven nothing, but he looked okay, right? He looked like he could hoop. You just gotta bet that dude might, like, you gotta hit. You gotta hit on your bet. You gotta hit on your draft. You risked it for Queen. Hopefully Queen turned into what you want him to turn into, right? Like if you trade her for Kuminga, right? You trading her for Kuminga, hoping that like Kuminga looked like that the 20-point scorer Kuminga that they was in the minutes in the playoffs, or like of just effective on offense or whatever. Like you moving talent, but you ain't moving talent for no talent. You moving talent for an opportunity to bring in more effective high-level talent, or more talent that'll fit your timeline now, because the problem that you have right now is your talent ain't playing, and then when it does play, it's not winning. It's not winning. What coach has been successful? What was their winnings? What coach will work? The number for me, because everybody talk about Mike Malone, but I don't think Mike Malone would do this. And then, yeah, Mike Malone, like, I'm going to just be honest about Mike Malone. Mike Malone won the championship, but it took Mike Malone a long time for Denver to become what they became. And granted, it's sustainable now, but, like, they went through a lot of, like, you know what I mean? A lot of rough times and transition before Joker became an MVP level player and Murray became what he became, and you still had to get they took a risk on MPJ, who had the bag injury, right? You had to let MPJ develop, and then you had to go get Aaron Gordon and KCP and Bruce. Like, it took Mike Malone a long time. Get me, dog, people don't want to, but get me Tom Thibodeau. Get me Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau turns shit around fast. Like, if I'm trying to win, right now, make the playoffs consistently, and that's what winning is for us. Winning for us is just consistently in the playoffs. Can I get a 6 seed, 5 seed, right? Can we do that? You ain't even talking championship, because people want to talk about championship, but look at Tom Thibodeau track record. We got an episode on that too. Was in Chicago. Chicago was not good. Went to Eastern Conference Finals, constantly made the playoffs, was contenders. Went to Minnesota. Minnesota had that long drought. They made the playoffs a couple times. Jimmy blew it up. He got out of there too, but he had Minnesota contender. Went to the Knicks. The Knicks were terrible for however long, right? For however long. He got there. Brunson got there. He started playing them dudes 40 minutes a game. But you say what you want. Every year they progressed further and further into the playoffs. They just made it to Eastern Conference Finals and then fired him. So, like, if I'm trying to win, and I don't think we should be trying to win necessarily, but like Tom Thibodeau got a great track record that I think would fit the timeline of what our team is in the process. Unless, like, it just depends, because right now you haven't torn it down. So with what you have, that fits. If you tear it down, I think you should go with a young coach. But Tom probably fit that too. I don't know if he want to do that. Bro, them dudes, to real quick before we move off of this one, you got to think about it, dog. Like, when these coaches take jobs, like, their legacies are impacted by this. Like, you have to believe a lot of what's going on for you to take a job. And it's situational. These jobs don't come around often. But think about it. Like, if you were getting ready to take a job, right? Your record starts once you take that job, whatever it is. Like, bro, if you about to go through a 4-year rebuild, 3-year rebuild, you got to think you looking at seasons of like 20 and 60, right? You have a couple of those, couple 30-win seasons, and then before you know it, when they pull up your record in the history books, and you 90 and 180 or something like that, they're gonna be like, man, this dude one of the worst coaches in the league. So, like, when we talk about like coaches taking these jobs, it's very situational. It's very situational. So, like, again, if depending on what moves you're getting ready to make, maybe JB is the guy. He been here for seasons, love New Orleans, been in New Orleans, is an offensive guy. Like, give him the season to see what he does. And then maybe you just hire him, let him do his thing, unless you're going to hire a brand new coach that you actually believe in. But the problem is, a lot of teams like cultivate their coaches, right? Like you saw, like at least this side is now. Like when Boston's coach was in the Boston system. Mark Dagnall, I think Mark Dagnall was in the OKC system, if I'm not mistaken. It's just we're not cultivating anybody to step up and be the guy where you be like, oh yeah, we could see him being the guy. No, it's not like that. You got to go out and find somebody. So maybe Borrego is the long-term answer. You don't think the Spurs would take Z as a 6-man if they go for Greek and give us like Vassell and Sohan? No, no. I don't think the Spurs would do something like that. I don't think not that the Spurs aren't like a risky organization, but I don't think the Spurs like I couldn't see the Spurs and Z like fit. Like they just don't, especially with Z like record of like not working hard, not working on his game and stuff like that. Whether it's true or not, like enough about Z that got around the lead to where I don't think the Spurs would even take a chance. That's why I say I think a team like Miami would, because I think Pat Riley is more so like, I'll take a risk on you, especially with the high level talent. They haven't had a history of like recently at least of being able to bring in like high level talent. If you brought Zion to Miami and was able to keep Bam and Tyler, you know what I mean? Like, I think it would give Spo, right, with a coach like Spo and Pat Riley upstairs and that whole Heat culture and all of that. I think a team like that would take a chance on somebody like Zion. Dagnall coached this G League team. I'm about to say I knew Dagnall was in the, you know what I'm saying, grew up in the OKC rankings. That's like that. Unless you getting an elite coach, right? How Houston was like, oh shit, Ime available? Come on, Ime. Come on. Unless something like that happened, then no. It allows you to flex Greek and Z for the same position on like 30 minutes, 50 minutes, same physical. Yeah, but I just don't think they would like. I see where you're going. But I just don't know if. And again, I don't even know what San Antonio timeline is like. Right? Like a lot of their team is very young. San Antonio might not have time to be trying to like, because once you get Greek, you're trying to win ASAP. And even if you do get Greek and Z, you think you beating OKC? I mean, you'd have a shot. But I think how I talked earlier about how you got to look at the window. The window is not right now, but in like a couple years, like the Spurs window isn't right now. In my opinion, they'll be a playoff team and they'll compete, but what are they? First round, second round team at best. But how bad the West is, but no. If we could get Ware for Zion, I'm doing that. Even if Zion tries to get it. Dog, I'm telling you, my top three, the top three on my wish list, if I move Z, is Ware, because I think Ware is realistic to a degree. I think Ware's realistic because I think Miami will move him for a player like Z. Ace, I don't think is realistic, but a player like I can't think of another player young like, because I thought like a lot of people was giving Ace shit in the draft. I'm like, bro, please let that dude fall to us. Please let him fall to us because I think Ace gonna be a star personally. Ace just got mentality, dog. He like looked like he worked hard. You know what I mean? And then if you was able to add Ace off the ball with Carlo, and then I'm not Carlo with Queen and Fizzy. I saw Carlo in the comment. That's what made me say Carlo. Queen and Carlo at the 4s, Ware at the 5, Missy at the 5. We straight for years. Bro, listen, I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to move Missy. I'm keeping Carlo too. But like if I could get Ware, move Missy, and get like and get Kessler, and then my bigs are like Ware, Kessler, Queen, Carlo, then I'm right. then I'm right. I personally I don't like Eve's limitations offensively. And while I like Eve as a player because of the activity and stuff like that, I'm tired of seeing like the team with so many limitations. Like the limitations on the team is like every player, dog, is really disgusting. Like every player can only do like one at max two things, right? And then they don't do it at like elite like Zion is really the only elite level player, right? Like Trey is a elite shooter, but like that's the only thing. And then he not even really getting it off like that. So I just I don't know. I mean, Trey, but with Wemby hurt, how long do you think? Wemby another, like, that's another thing. Like, we sitting there having questions with Zion. Give it another year or two, bro. They're gonna start having questions about Wemby. Wemby been out every season so far. Every season. And I really think they could beat OKC. Though they ain't beating OKC unless OKC injured. I don't believe in Missy upside. I'm just, like, I don't know, bro. And again, he a young player. He only a year two player, but like, and it's not to say that he can't be an effective NBA player. He's has crazy development potential. Greek at the full women. Eves has crazy, yeah, development potential. But like, who do you think have higher upside, like Eves or Khalil Webb? Right, like the things that Khalil Webb just naturally can do, Eves just can't do. Right, like no matter what Eves tries to become, he can't be Chet. Like he just that's just not his game. Right, like the ball handling, the shooting, like all it just don't come natural like that. Like he's just like, even at his best his best offensively will probably be Jared Allen. And that's like max. Yeah, like like that's really what it boils down to. The team is full of specialists instead of ball. Yeah. Bro, Hawk, and I wanted Hawk when we drafted him at the time, right? But your shooter can't shoot. Your shooter can't shoot. And then he's small. Like you would have thought he would have developed over time. Like nobody on the team really develops. Nobody develops. In the elite talent, I wouldn't say an elite player. Zion a unique case, bro. Zion just a dominant player. Like he just is. You say, like, when you see him when he's on the floor, I mean he's 20, 22 to 25, 7 and 5. I don't know how much longer he got that, but that's just what he is. Missy is a bench big for solid years. Absolutely. He gonna be in the league for a while, rotational big, gonna help teams, defend the rim, run energetic and stuff like that. But it's only so much a player like Eves is gonna be able to do for you. Like it's just the way it is. Missy is a great interior and rim defender, but Webb just better. And listen, we throwing around the word great around, you know what I mean, loosely. Like Rudy Gobert is a great interior and rim defender. Like a dude that when you like, as much as people want to talk about Rudy, right? When Rudy was in Utah, them dudes was like Rudy and Mitch was in Utah, they was the 1 seed. Like repeatedly in the playoffs. Rudy Gobert went to Minnesota, and Minnesota went 2 back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances. So like, we got to watch how we use the word great and all of that. Missy is a really good young player, right? And he can do some things for sure, absolutely. But like, no, even still, where's just better. Where's just better. Genuinely, Z is a more injury prone than Blake Griffin, and that says something. I mean, I don't know, man. Both of them were special, and then, like you said, both if Eve is our big bench, well, West starting, we could keep him and be straight. So this is the thing: if Eves is off your bench, imagine if you had a player like Kessler off your bench with where? Like that's the and like I'm like if you not saying that you just have to move Eves. I'm not saying that. But if you could turn dog and shout out to Ivory for this one. Shout out to Ivory for this. And I don't even want to put this, but like me and Ivory was on the phone the other day, and Ivory asked, he said, when I think about rosters, I ask, could this player play and or start on OKC's team? If you put Eves on OKC team, like not that because Eves is 7-footer and like he can run, he's athletic and stuff like that. So it's not that Eves wouldn't play, but like, what would Eves be in the OKC rotation? Right? Like, he would be limited in what he could do for them. Like everybody on that team, pass, shoot, dribble, defend. And Eves is not bad. But like, is Eves playing over Sorber if he was healthy? I don't know. You ain't getting no minutes over Chet. You ain't getting no minutes over Hart. So shout out to Ivory, man. I don't know. But that's just some of the thoughts, man. Some of the dialogue, bro. It's a lot going on right now with the team. I think while the season looks terrible, opportunity is still there. It just really depends on what it is they decide, like what direction they decide to go in. And we just have to be patient to see. We have to be patient to see. I just wonder if the front office is thinking about it the way we thinking about it, or is there stuff that we don't know? So like, for example, and I mentioned this before too, I at least thought it out loud. Like, what if Joe and Z just on some dog, you know what, chill this season. Don't trip. We're going to figure it out. I don't know. When Z is traded, you think the next team will play him at the 3 with the core true power forward with the side? Probably. Because if let's say he go to Miami. Let's say he go to Miami. Depending on what you get back in that deal, you probably gonna have Bam at the 4 or 5. Bam at the 4 or 5. You still got Tyler. I don't know Miami team like that. Who they got? Davion Mitchell playing point right now, maybe? No, because you still got. So they'd have. I think he probably have the 4. He probably played the 4 still, but I just think it would be different because they'd have Norm, Tyler, Bam. I guess it would depend on what they got in the trade. That's a tough one because it would depend on what they got in the trade. But hypothetically, if he went to like Utah could play him at the 3 because you got Laurie and then, well, Kessler hurt, but then they got Filipowski, who's another big. Looking back at the kids I really like, bro, Roy Ivory, Micah Nori, that's sleepers. I thought about Micah Nori not long ago. People don't really know who that is. That's that the Minnesota coach, bro. The Minnesota, I think that'd be a sleeper, but I don't know if they even gonna like. I have no clue who this team, like who they're looking at or who they're because they just said they haven't put together a potential list or something like that. And again, that could be a lie, but I could believe it to a degree. They probably want to give JB a real opportunity to see what he could do, like an unbiased opportunity, not comparing them to somebody that they potentially want. But in these situations, you got to have an idea and think ahead. So, I mean, that's something to consider. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Ivory with Houston still, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case, that's still a good system that you would want to plug for somebody that's been with Ime. Absolutely. I don't know, man. But again, the benefit is you fired your coach and you could consider all of this. You really could consider all of this. You could consider all options. And sometimes when you get out of a tough situation, that's all you want is options, right? The only thing you don't have this year is the draft pick. That's the only thing you don't have. But You got everything in the future. You still got the players that you can move. You still got good players right now. And then you lucky because your two rookies, they hit. And PV looks solid, right? PV coming along. PV look like he a player too. So if you hit on all your rookies, now you sitting there like, shit, we could make something shake. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with it, man. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So initially, this episode was just to kind of like see where we stood on James Borrego, and I'm just more so kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I like the progress, but at the same time, he's done some things that's giving me like cause to be hesitant. So I had to check myself and say, all right, let's give him some more time and see how it looks, because Fears is improving, Queen is improving like at a rapid rate. Like them dudes are getting good fast. What are they gonna look like in 30 games, 40 games, 50 games? These motherfuckers playing every game. Though by the end of the season, you could legit argue that the Pelicans can possibly have the two best rookies in the class. So, and maybe that change your mindset on what it is you do. If you come to the trade deadline and it look like Fears averaging 20 and Queen damn near averaging a double-double, damn near triple-double with how you getting assists, right? You might be like, shit, we punting on all these dudes. So I don't know. We'll see. But, man, I appreciate y'all. We almost 2 hours in. I appreciate y'all giving me y'all Friday night, man. Y'all Friday night. Absolutely. Shout out to Fizz. You're Riggedy. All the new people that jumped in tonight, man. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? And I'll probably come back with an episode tomorrow. I think they play tomorrow too. They play Brooklyn. It's probably gonna be a win. But again, I don't ever want to say it's gonna be a win, because every time I say that, they end up losing. So they should win, yes. Who knows if they will? But what I do know for sure is we'll have an episode tomorrow night. Probably, you know what, I'll probably see if I can get my boy Mike and see if we could do like a live cast for the game, or if not, I'm on for sure after. So like, I'm committing right now. We on after with the episode. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, man. So yeah, but when you say we gonna lose, they lose. That's the problem. I'll be like, yeah, we gonna lose. I guess you know, that's the way it go. What are we? 3-20, they 5-17. They just as bad as us, bro. It should be a good game. Two bad teams playing each other. Z possibly in his new home. We might leave him in Brooklyn. We might leave him in Brooklyn. I definitely want to watch this game though, because there's a couple players for Brooklyn that we might need to scout. Only issue is Michael Porter Jr. been going crazy. Michael Porter Jr. fuck around, come out and win this game by himself. So we'll see, man. But again, man, if y'all out or whatever it is y'all getting into, y'all be safe out there, you dig? Appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Pels in the blender. I'm A. Davis. Y'all be Cam Thomas Scout season. Is Cam still hurt? I know Cam had the hamstring earlier, but I don't know if he back or not. But if so, I know buckets gonna be given. Absolutely putting buckets up. That's one thing we do know. Y'all be safe, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Well, Pels in the blender. I'm A. Davis. I'm out. Peace.